spiritual spouse.
I got delivered from spiritual spouse, but first I will give you an insight on my experience from the point I noticed something was wrong. I am the only son of my parents and the second child. My father had in mind to hand over his business to me. He gave me the very best in education and allowed me stay off campus in my private university, which I attended. In my year one, I got introduced to a lovely fresher like myself by my close friend whom we came from the same wealthy background status as myself. Things were going smoothly and we ended our beautiful relationship after 8 months. Her reason was known to me in one of the quarrels we had. She said she was done dating a baby who can't sustain her needs and that my peenie, aka the genital, was tiny for her. The genital part hurt my feelings and kept me depressed for weeks. If only she knew she was my first. I resorted to watching pornography and I started making up images of girls in my head while I would masturbate to my heart's content. I would cook up scenarios to spice up the sex and it would always be outstanding. Each time I closed my eyes, I would visualize my room and then visualize being visited by one young lady I made up in my head. I got too comfortable with everything that sometimes I would really feel I wasn't alone in my room and I would often overlook it. Fast forward to my finals, I met with a lady 3 years younger than I was, who was into all things spiritual, and I admired everything about her, although I found it hard to love again after the last heartbreak. Got super deep in the relationship, and one of the days I pleaded with her to spend the weekend with me under the vow that I would not touch her in any inappropriate way or manner. I prepared for her visit and I stocked my apartment. That Friday evening, she came with few of her things and I was overwhelmed with joy. After eating the dinner she prepared, we went straight to the room and gisted a bit before she fell asleep. And I went around to lock the doors and windows. The next day I woke up and she wasn't in the room. I eased myself and I went around to look for her. I saw her fast asleep in the parlor. I tapped her and she gave me a silly look. I asked her what led to her leaving me in the room. She gave me a silly look and pretended as though I didn't ask anything. I had to overlook that. The same night leading to the next morning, that same scenario occurred. This time around, I found her outside the balcony. Yes, I lived at the top floor, but it wasn't an excuse for her to leave my doors open. In the manner I spoke to her, she had no other choice than to tell me what exactly led to her behaving in that manner. She told me each time she would sleep in the room with me, these 2 days, she would be woken up by the great sound of me farting, aka passing gas. Now it wasn't just the sound that shocked her. She said that the oxygen in the entire house would be overwhelmed by what I was letting out through my butthole. And I would gas under the interval of every 3 minutes to 5 minutes. Each time she tried waking me up, I would breathe heavily and I would let out more horrible gas sounds and smell. The second night was too horrible for her that she had to get everything on video. When she showed me the video on her phone, I watched myself in disgust, letting out horrible sounds for more than 10 minutes. There wasn't much gap from the last gas to the next gas sounds. And the more she tried tapping me, the louder it was. With her phone still in my hand, I was so shocked and I didn't even have a clue of what next to emit from my mouth. Thinking that was just it, she also opened up to me on how she noticed a shadow of a woman always following her right from the first month of our relationship. Now you must be confused. Let me clarify. When she would be coming back late hours or towards a place that would show her reflection or shadow on the floor, she would see two shadows. One would look like her and one would look like a different girl with a different body type altogether. To the extent her own mom had horrible dreams regarding her, and these dreams had everything to do about death and accidents. According to her, she initially blamed the whole thing on village people.